Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest name, biggest draw, biggest everything, has announced she's not coming back. Not next week, not next month, not next season. The news hits like a meteor. Viewership tanks, fans write digitally and emotionally. Sponsors freeze. And as a league scrambles to pretend everything's fine, Sophie Cunningham walks, and like she's had enough. And let me tell you, she does not hold back. No PR polish. If you're here for the real story and not to filter version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. No league-approved sound bites, just pure unfilled her frustration from a player who seemed too much and stay quiet too long. Sophie Cunningham, usually known for agree on a court and straight up, "I'm not here be like" energy, puts the league on blast. She says what everyone's been whispering: the WNBA disrespect acted Caitlin Clark repeatedly, publicly, systemically, and finally someone has a spine to say it out loud. Because the truth is, Caitlin didn't just leave because she was tired or hurt. She left because she wasn't protected, not physically, not emotionally, not professionally. And Sophie is done watching the league sweep that under the rug. Let's get into what she actually said, because this wasn't vague. "We need do better" quote for a post-game interview. This was a call-out. This was Sophie saying this lead has a problem. And if we don't talk about it now, women's basketball is going to pay the price. She pointed to the targeting the cars and hits the uncalled fouls, the fact that everyone saw happening: fans, players, coaches, broadcasters. And yet somehow game after game nothing changed. Clock a get rocked on a drive, thrown a floor, and the refs, we just keep walking. And Sophie, she's not having it. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "You can't build your whole league around someone in and watch and get beat up every night and say that's just a game." She called for what it is: disrespect, not just from opponents, but from the system that was supposed to protect her. And let's pause for a second, because this is coming from someone who understands a game. Sophie isn't just a teammate. She's a vet. She's played this league long enough to know how the politics work. She knows who gets protection, who doesn't. And when she says it's broken, believer, Sophie Cunningham knows what time it is. And she wasn't just defending Clark as a person, she was defending Clark as a business asset. Because that's what makes this whole situation even more absurd. Clark wasn't as good for the league. She was the league ticket sales. Doubled March, selling out broadcast deals, riding on her name, arena attendance through the roof as long as number 22 was on the floor. And somehow, despite all that the WNBA litigate, toss around like she was just another rookie, no protection, no consequences, just the play through it attitude of felt more like dared and policy. And Sophie says a league fail Clark. She's not wrong. And when she says there's jealousy behind that failure, yeah, she's really not wrong, because be honest, the second Caitlin Clark started dominated headlines, the league got weird suddenly. Every hard foul wasn't as part of game, it was personal. The physicality had an edge, and Sophie, she called out the pettiness, the weird locker room energy. The players and fans couldn't separate personal feelings from what was good for the game. She made it clear this wasn't just about one player, it was about how the league treat excellence. And she didn't say that to stir the pot. She said it because she cares about the sport, because she knows what Caitlin Clark brought to the table, and she knows what the league he just lost by not stand behind her. This whole situation has exposed something that a lot of people didn't want to admit. The WNBA has a culture problem, not on the surface, on the inside, a culture of competition over collaboration, jealousy over strategy, petty beef over progress, and is now not just the players, it's top down. It's baked into how the league operates, how it handles narrative, how it pushes or buries its stars. Sophie didn't just call out players, she caught out the leadership. She pointed the finger straight at the people who allowed us to go on. Who was the league's most valuable player? They are get run through the ringer and said, well, that's part of the job. No, it's not what part of jobs. As your MVPs, you walk away bruised, disrespected, and done with your product. Because let's remember, Caitlyn didn't retire. She didn't burn out. She slowed down. She left voluntarily for Europe for a lead that would actually treat her like she matters, and Sophie, she's not okay with that. And she said what no executive dare to say out loud: we failed her, and if we don't fix this would have failed. And next one to think about the message is sent to the next generation. You got high school girls and college stars watching this unfold and wondering, is this really where I want to go? Because of the league can handle one breakout star, what happens when the next one comes along? Cunningham's not just worried about Clark. She's worried about the future, about the legacy, about whether this league is serious about growth or if it's just pretending. And here's what makes Sophie's words even more powerful. She didn't have to say anything. She could have stayed quiet, play the politics, focus on her own stats, and lead to chaos and full without her. But she didn't. She chose to stand up, to be that voice, even if it means ticking off league visuals, teammates, or internet trolls. Because at the end of the day, what she said matters, as what fans have been saying for months: protect your stars, respect your stars, build your league around them, not against them. And for a league that says about empowerment, that should be basic. But here we are, watching the one player who made casual fans care walk away, watching a teammate Begley to care more, watching the walls of trust collapsing real time. This isn't drama, it's a reckoning. And of the WNBA, doesn't listen Sophie Cunningham if they don't take her word seriously, then get ready. Because this won't be the last star who walks, this won't be the last fan who leaves, this will be the last player who says it's not worth it. And that's the real danger, not just losing Caitlyn Clark, but losing what she represented: momentum, growth, relevance, the kind of storylines that make leagues go mainstream. So yeah, Sophie Cunningham went off, but she did it because someone had to. She saw the bigger picture. She saw the opportunity slipping through the league's fingers, and she said, enough now. It's on the WNBA. Fix it, own it, reform it, because of you. And protect your big asset, your brightest star, your future. You don't have a league. So what you think was Sophie, right? Call it out. Is this the turning point the WNBA needs, or is this the final warning before more chaos? Drop your thoughts below. This isn't just a debate. This is a moment. And if you're here for more sports milk, down star walkout, and true bombs from players, get it. Hit that subscribe, because the WNBA are not just in hot water. They're boiling. Sophie Cunningham blew the lid off the WNBA's handling, or more accurately, mishandling of Caitlyn Clark. It was like someone finally said what everyone else had been tiptoe around for months, and suddenly the energy shifted. You know that moment in a movie when the side character finally stands up and tells a king the kingdom is crumbling? That was Sophie in real time. No CGI, no soft lighting, just raw truth, delivered like a dagger wrapped in professionalism. And now the league scrambling. The silence from officials deafening. You can feel the PR department spinning in their chairs, furiously rewriting next week's press releases. But here's the problem: the toothpaste is already out of the tube. Once a player like Cunningham speaks up, especially from within the ranks, you can't walk that back. You can slap a hashtag on it and pretend it's growth, because Sophie didn't go rogue. She went real. She put her name, her reputation, and her career on the line to call out a lead that she still wants to see succeed. And that's what makes it even more powerful. This wasn't bitterness. This wasn't drama for drama's sake. This was loyalty to the sport, to the players, to the fans, to the future. And let's be honest, she said things a lot of people didn't have the guts to say. Because calling out the WNBA from inside, that takes a nerve, especially when the league has a history of brushing dissenting voices under the rug like spilled Gatorade. But here's the thing: the rug's on fire now, and Cunningham just walked in with a matchbox and receipts. Let's rewind a little though, because Sophie didn't just wake up one day and decide to speak out. She's been watching. She's been noticing game after game. She saw how Clark was treated not just by the refs, but by the system, the commentators, the league hierarchy, even some of the players. It wasn't subtle, it was calculated. The lead bill her up for clicks, for ticket sales, for record-breaking viewership. But when it came, protect her silence, when it came time to hold officials accountable, crickets. And when Clark finally said, "I'm not coming back," suddenly everyone was shocked. Please, Sophie saw the writing on the wall before most of us did. She knew what was happening. And while everyone else was attending was impersonal, that this was just basketball, she was standing there thinking, no, it's deeper than that, because it wasn't just about one player being fouled too hard. It was about a culture that allowed it, that almost encouraged it, the undertone of jealousy, of bitterness, of she doesn't deserve this attention, even okay. Caitlin Clark was literally saving the league ratings, and Sophie, she wasn't, and stay quiet about it. She didn't just defend Clark as a teammate, she defended her as a symbol, as a once-in-a-generation athlete, as someone who had potential to change the entire trajectory of women's basketball, not just one season, but for decades in the league. Just let that slip away like it was no big deal, like you can just find another Caitlin Clark lying around at your local YMCA. Spoiler, you can't. What Sophie highlighted wasn't just a personal issue, it was a philosophical one. A lead that's constantly begging for attention, for media coverage, for new fans. And yet, when they get all that served on a silver platter, they don't know what to do with it. They fumble it, they smother it, they resent it. Because Clark does bring attention to the lead. She exposed the crack. She revealed how unprepared the WNBA with for real stain stardom, not the once every 4 years Olympic spike, not the casual tweet during the playoffs, but full-blown mainstream cameras following you to the parking lots of Liberty. And the lead didn't know how to handle it, so instead protecting her, they distanced themselves instead of enforcing rules. They let the guy, James Pyro, instead of setting a new standard, they try to keep things balanced. But balance to who? Balance to what? Because of your idea of balance is letting your biggest star give out every game until she literally opt out a league. That's not balanced, that's sabotage. Sophie Cunningham saw all of it. And she said enough. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't dance around it. She called what it is: systemic disrespect, targeting a failure of leadership. And here's the irony, the WNBA loves to promote slogans about sisterhood, about unity, about lifting each other up, but when the rubber hit the road, when one of their own was begging for fairness on the court, they ghosted her. And Sophie's calling out the hypocrisy, because what she's really demanding isn't special treatment for Clark, it's basic respect, it's fairness, is protecting every player who carries a league future on their back. She's asking, how do we expected growth as game if we keep tearing down the very people we're building it? And honestly, she's right. You'll get a Caitlin Clark every year or even every 10. She's lightning in a bottle. But if you keep letting that lightning get struck down without consequence, don't be surprised when Storm moves somewhere else, which it did Europe. And now the WNBA sitting here 1 star lighter, 1 PR disaster deeper, and 1 Sophie Cunningham speed away from a full-blown muni. Because here's what happens next, and trust me, it's coming. More players will speak out, more fans will turn away, more ink coming town will start asking their agents, what's the international market like? Unless the lead takes a long, hard look in a mirror, the way that Clark's start will become a drain, a slow bleed. Because of this is how you treat your stars, was it said everyone else. Sophie Cunningham was trying to warn the lead, not just roy it, not shame it, but save it. Her rat was rebellion. It was a rallying cry: fix the culture, fix the officiating, fix the priorities. Stop treating excellence like a threat and start treating it like a gift, or else you'll be level highlight and hashtags, but no actual growth. And the saddest part, it could have been different. The WNBA could have listened. They could have made a statement, enforced the rules, build around the biggest name they've ever had, but they didn't. And now the most honest person room, Sophie Cunningham, is standing in a ruins telling the truth, hoping anyone is finally ready to hear it. Sophie Cunningham walks up, points of damage, and says the quiet, pour out loud, that's not just bravery, that's a line in the sand. And guess what? The league is on the wrong side of it. See, Sophie's not just going out, officiating, or favoritism, or locker room pilot. Ticks, she's calling out the culture, the entire culture, the one that's been quietly festering under the surface for years. You know, the one that smiles in press conferences, tweet about women supporting women, and in letters top talent gets stomped on night after night. Because deep down, it's still scare what real power looks like, especially when that power comes a form of a 22-year-old phenom who changes the game just by stepping on a court. Let's be real, the WNBA has never known what to do with generational talent that comes with massive attention. Is like they get stage fright. They want the headlines of fans are sold out arenas. But when the spotlight actually shows up suddenly, they start shrinking like the attention is too big, too loud, too white hot. So what do? Instead of rising to the moment, they try to dull it, balance it, make it fair. You know, it's not fair watching Caitlin Clark take on called both deface on national TV and then getting lectured about respecting the game. You know, is not fair hearing commentators act like or fouls are learning experiences, while everyone else get a free pass to throw shade and throw shoulders. That's what Sophie Cunningham saw. That's what she couldn't see, because this isn't just about basketball. This is about what happens when a league built on resilience refuses to evolve, when it finally has a chance to drive. Sophie knows what it takes to make it in his league. The grind, the years of playing second fiddle, the underfunded programs, and forgotten TV slots. And when someone like Caitlin Clark finally breaks of the glass ceiling and brings everyone else with her, what does a lead do? It closes the window again. It goes quiet. It let jealousy take the wheel, and Sophie's not about a cosign that not now, not ever. What makes his moment so explosive isn't just Sophie's words, it's or timing. Clark is gone, the league is hemorrhaging fan trust, the numbers are slipping, and Sophie stepped into that vacuum and said, yo, on honesty, here it is, and fans are listening. Because let's face it, Sophie didn't just speak to the league, she spoke with the fans, for the girls in the stands wearing numbered 22 jerseys, for the dads who finally started watching games because their daughters couldn't stop talking about Caitlin Clark, for the millions who tune in not because a WNBA bagged them, but because Clark made him care. And when those fans saw the lead response to Clark treatment, the silence, the spin, the passive-aggressive comments from opposing players, they noticed. That's why Sophie's words hit so hard. She validated where fans were already screaming into the void. You let this happen, and you're still pretending you didn't. But let's not pretend Sophie doesn't know the risk here. Speaking up like this is not safe, not in a league where go against the grain get you branded difficult, not in a league where towing the line is practically a survival skill. But Sophie did it anyway, and that exactly why it mattered, because it wasn't calculated, it was wrong, it was real. And say what was popular, she said, was right. And the ripple effect is just starting. Other players have and feel this summer clap in private. Others will roll their eyes and say she's being dramatic, but deep down, they know they've seen it too. They felt attention. They played next to the double standards, and they're watching now to see what happens next. Will the league listen, or will it punish her for speaking out? Because let's not pretend retaliation isn't real. We've seen what happens when players speak out. Suddenly they get less media, less minutes, fewer brand deals. Is not always overt, but it's there. And Sophie, she knows that, but she also knows the cause of silence is higher. Because if nobody says anything now, the cycle continues. The league keep chasing short-term wins while sacrificing long-term RM growth, and eventually the talent pipeline dries up, the fan get tired, the energy fades, and all that momentum gone. But it doesn't have to end that way. That's the hard with Sophie saying there's still time to fix this, time to reform the culture, time to make the league to what it could be, not what has been. But that starts with owning up, not spinning, not deflecting, owning it. And look, we all want the WNBA when no one's rooting for this league to fail, not even the harshest critics, but you can't grow of. You're allergic to accountability. You can't bill trust if you won't admit when you broke it. And you can't keep asking fans who invest when you keep treating your best players like they're disposable. So now the question becomes, who's going to join Sophie? Who else in the league has occurred to say, yeah, she's right, and we need to talk about it? There's one voice can light the fire, but many can burn the house down and rebuild it the right way. And that's the hope, isn't it? That this isn't the end of the WNBA momentum, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where players aren't afraid to speak truth to power, one where stars are supported, not torn down. One would allow he isn't just surviving, it's thriving. But that starts now with this moment, with this truth. The WNBA want to be taken seriously, really seriously. It has to start listening not to the suits, not to spin, but to the players, especially the ones like Sophie Cunningham, who are willing to read, ask everything, protect the game they love. So let's give her a fake award show. We most fearless player in a league that needed honesty more than hype. And she earned it. Now it's your turn. Will you think, did Sophie Cunningham say what need to be said, or did she just stir the pot? Do you think the WNBA will change? Or are we about to see more stars blue Caitlin Clark and say thanks, but I'm good?